be seated. For our opening prayer, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite the Most Reverend Dr. Paul K. Boafo, Chairman of the Christian Council, and he'll also be joined by Sheikh Aremiao Shaibu, spokesperson of the Chief Imam of Ghana.
Let us pray. O Lord our God, creator of all, it is in you that we live and move and have our being. We give you praise for who you are and what you have done in our lives as nations, as individuals, as families. We bless your name for what you have showered upon us as your people on this continent of Africa. We thank you for our forebears, men and women, you brought together to bring us into one common union. And this is how far, O Lord, you have brought us. So aiding and enabling us to come together as your people, to be seen as one, and charting a common cause for our good and our welfare. Today we have met once more as your people to commission and to hand over this secretariat that is bringing all of us together and creating one common market for ourselves. We pray that you continue to bless our continent, bless our governments, our economies, our people, and all within who will come to share in this great work of ours. We commit this building into your hands. It is by your grace that we have built this. And so we ask that all who work here, all who have anything to do with this building, may they be blessed, and may our hands be blessed in everything that we do. Blessing our economies and our landscape and everything that, Lord, you have given to us. May this day, what we do here, redound to your glory. This and many blessings we ask through Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior. Amen.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Almighty Allah, Almighty God, we want to give you thanks and praises in a manner that is befitting of your holiness and highness. Thank you for this morning. Thank you for life. And thank you for good health. And thank you for all those who have taken the decision to bring us here this morning. We have met here this morning for the commissioning of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and the handing over of the Secretariat. Let this event be the means by which we hand over this whole important institution into your loving care. Let it be like a seed that will cause a tree to blossom through the economies that the various governments of Africa are doing in order to bring well-being and happiness and development, advancement, and progress. So when we have enjoyed, through your wisdom, the leadership of our members of the leaders of our country, will give you thanks and praises. Protect this edifice, this Secretariat, against any misfortune that could come to undermine its progress. Protect our leaders, all African leaders. Inspire them with the best of ideas that translates into policies that brings happiness, harmony, development, advancement to all members of our country and the continent of Africa. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والسلامة من كل إثم والغنيمة من كل بر والفوز بالجنة والنجاة من النار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, do allow me to request a resounding round of applause for this historic moment in the continent of Africa. You are welcome to the official commissioning and handing over of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, another feat for the powerful Republic of Ghana. Another round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to welcome onto the stage to give the welcome remarks the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration. Mesdames et Messieurs, permettez-moi d'inviter sur scène Honorable Shirley Ayoko-Boutre.
Your Excellency, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, Your Excellency, former President Jerry John Rawlings, Your Lordship, Justice Kwesi Enim-Yeboah, the Chief Justice, Honorable Akosua-Frema Ose Opari, Chief of Staff at the Presidency, Nana Otuo-Sribour II, Chairman of the Council of State, Senior Minister and Honorable Ministers and Members of Parliament, Your Excellency Musa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission and AU Commission staff, Your Excellency Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the AFCFTA Secretariat, Your Excellency Claudia Tabe Quintero, Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our reverend traditional and religious leaders, eminent invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to Accra and to this premises for the commissioning and handing over of the Secretariat of the AFCFTA to the African Union Commission. I also wish to welcome all those who are watching this ceremony virtually. Ladies and gentlemen, today is historic as we witness the realization of one of the aspirations of the founding fathers of the Organization of the African Union, now the African Union. At its formation in 1963, part of the agenda of the OAU, as reflected in the preamble of its charter, was for African countries to explore their full potentials in order to develop greater capacity to negotiate better deals with the outside world. To achieve this objective, the Lagos Plan of Action was adopted by the heads of state of the OAU in 1980, setting forth the idea of a continental free trade area. That undertaking led directly to the Abuja Treaty, establishing the African Economic Community in 1991. The journey to this point, for which we have gathered to celebrate, has indeed been long, rugged, and arduous. Taking place even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic, today's commissioning and handing over ceremony of the AFCFTA Secretariat is a reflection of our strong collective resolve to push forward this African integration agenda. Undeniably, the negative effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on our economies and social lives makes this event even more imperative. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Africa we want has a shared framework for inclusive growth and sustainable development over the next 50 years. Agenda 2063 underscored the AFCFTA as one of African Union's flagship projects to significantly accelerate growth of intra-African trade and use trade more effectively as an engine of growth and sustainable development. Specifically, its goal is to double intra-Africa trade by 2022 by addressing pertinent challenges comprehensively and resolutely. This is the time for us to raise our ambitions even higher. This is not the time to sit back and watch. The Africa we desire and have worked for over the years is clearly visible on the horizon. This day ushers us onto the right stage to rapidly move towards achieving the other related flagship projects of Agenda 2063. We know that the road ahead will not be easy. It has not been easy all these decades, so we cannot expect anything different. Our belief must be in ourselves and in our collective abilities as Africans. Together, we can and we will build the Africa we want. On this note, I wish to assure Your Excellency Wamkele Mene, First Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat, of the support of the Government of Ghana, and in particular, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration in the operationalization of this African project for Africa's collective development. Our doors are widely open to you. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by wishing the AU Chair, the Secretary General, a pleasant stay here in our beautiful city of Accra. I thank you for your kind attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now an opening statement by the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry, Alan Chermantin.
Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, former President of Ghana, the representative of His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, former President of Ghana, my Lord Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Justice Anin Yeboah, the Chairman of the Council of State, Nana Otuo-Sribowo II, Excellency Musa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Excellency Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the AFCFTA, the representative of Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, Asante Henry, the Chief of Staff, Senior Minister, colleague, Honorable Ministers of State, the Chairman of the Christian Council of Ghana, the representative of the National Chief Imam, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I stand on existing protocol to add my voice to that of my colleague, the Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, to extend a very warm welcome to you all to this very important ceremony. I do so particularly for the distinguished delegation from the African Union Commission, led by the chairperson and also the newly elected Secretary General of the AFCFTA. Distinguished invited guests, it is appropriate on an occasion like this also to pay tribute to the leadership of the African Union Commission and in particular the Department of Trade and Industry for the significant contribution they have made in bringing us this far on our path towards the establishment of the AFCFTA. In the same vein, I acknowledge the support provided over the years by other African institutions such as the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the African Development Bank, the Afri-Exim Bank, and the regional economic communities. I wish also to recognize the invaluable contribution of my colleague, African Ministers of Trade, their senior officials, and members of the negotiating forum for shepherding to date the process of establishing the AfCFTA. On a more personal note, I've had the honor and privilege in and out of government of being very actively involved right from its inception in the design and development of the AfCFTA initiative. It is therefore a source of great joy to me that today we are taking a giant step forward towards realizing the dream and vision of the founding leaders of our continent to establish an African economic community. As you may be aware, the first major building block for the African economic community is establishing the free trade area for Africa, after which we will transition into a customs union before we finally get to our ultimate destination. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the case for an integrated market for Africa has never been in doubt, in spite of the skepticism that has been associated with it. The most developed regions of the world are, incidentally, the regions also with the highest level of market integration. Regrettably, Africa still remains the least integrated region in the world. Less than 15% of Africa's total trade occurs within the region. The paradox of Africa being the richest continent and yet the poorest could be partly attributed to this unfortunate situation. Distinguished invited guests, the successful implementation of the AfCFTA will bring many benefits to our continent. First, it will increase the level of intra-African trade with the harmonization and coordination of trade within the continent. It is estimated that intra-African trade would increase by as much as $35 billion or by 52% per annum by 2022. Secondly, AfTA will also address the challenge of small fragmented markets in Africa by creating a single continental market which will lead to economies of scale. Thirdly, it will add value to Africa's abundant natural resources and promote economic diversification and industrialization. Fourthly, it will promote the development of regional value chains and facilitate cross-border investments in Africa. Fifth, it will open up market opportunities for African SMEs on preferential trade terms. Sixth, with a population of 1.2 billion, estimated to increase to about 2.5 billion by 2050, Africa will become a very attractive destination for foreign direct investment because of its market size, with the potential of joint ventures and enhanced local content. Seventh, it will deepen the integration of Africa into global markets through supply chain arrangements and other commercial transactions. Eighth, Africa will improve its terms of trade with the rest of the world by adding value and earning higher values for its exports. Ninth, the AfCFTA will enhance benefits to consumers in Africa through lower prices of goods produced and imported from within the continent. And 10th, and last but not the least, it will significantly increase employment opportunities, particularly for the youth and other vulnerable groups. Excellencies, distinguished invited guests, whilst acknowledging these benefits to be gained from AFTA, it is worth noting that these benefits will not accrue automatically to member states. It will require each member state to develop a national program of action in order to harness the benefits of AFTA. Such programs must be mainstreamed into national development programs. In addition, the effective implementation of AFTA will require sustained political will and commitment from the highest level of executive authority in each country in respect of providing adequate budgetary resources to support the growth and development of priority sectors, as well as creating the appropriate incentive and regulatory framework to attract investments from the private sector, both domestic and foreign. At the national, regional, and continental levels, the need to develop modern trade-related infrastructure, including multimodal transport infrastructure to improve connectivity, cannot be overemphasized. There will also be the need to diversify our economies and produce more value-added products. The challenges posed by non-tariff barriers and technical barriers to trade, including but not limited to standards, customs clearance processes and procedures, and issues relating to rules of origin would all have to be addressed substantively. Distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm confident that together we can address these challenges. But in doing so, a lot will depend on the efficiency and effectiveness of the work that will be undertaken in this building that we are about to commission. In any event, we have come too far on this journey that there's no turning back. Our fate as a continent depends on the faith that we have in ourselves as Africans. Let us not be haunted by the fear of failure, of embarking on this project, but rather be inspired by the challenge and the prospect of success in realizing our vision of a single united market for Africa. Long live African Union, long live the African Continental Free Trade Area. I thank you for your attention.
Et maintenant, mesdames et messieurs, je vous présente le président de la République du Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana.
Eminent clergy, Chief Justice, the first President of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, Chairperson of the Council of State, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Secretary General of the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Chief of Staff at the Office of the President and officials of the Presidency, Senior Minister, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Minister for Trade and Industry, Ministers and Deputy Ministers of State, Members of Parliament, Dean and members of the Diplomatic Corps, traditional rulers, fellow Ghanaians and fellow Africans, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome all who are coming from beyond our shores to our picturesque, vibrant capital city of Accra, particularly the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Musa Faki Mohammed. We are honored, sir, by your presence amongst us. I extend a hearty welcome, a word of welcome to you and all others, and I hope you're all enjoying your stay, the pandemic notwithstanding, amongst a people famed for their hospitality. When the African Union, AU, convened an extraordinary summit in Kigali, the capital of the Republic of Rwanda, on 21st March 2018, to adopt and sign the legal instruments for the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. There were many who did not believe African countries were ready to meet the required minimum threshold of 22 member state ratifications needed for the AFCTA to come into effect. On 30th May 2019, a year later, after the minimum threshold was met, with Ghana and Kenya being the first to deposit on the same day their instruments of ratification with the AU Commission, the operational phase of the AFCFTA was launched as the agreement had become effective. A little over a month after this seminal event, we gathered in Niamey, capital of the Republic of Niger, on 7th July 2019, at the 12th extraordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the AU, where Ghana was selected by her peers to play host to the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area. Indeed, for a country generally acknowledged as the pioneer of modern Pan-Africanism, under the dynamic leadership of our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, a country whose people made great sacrifices to spearhead the struggle for the liberation of the African continent from colonialism, imperialism, and the racist system of apartheid. This is the first time in our 63 years of nationhood and in the 57 years of the founding of the Organization of African Unity, OAU, the precursor to the AU, that we have the responsibility and privilege of hosting an important Pan-African institution. So today is an auspicious day for Ghana, and on behalf of the Ghanaian people and their government, I express our deep appreciation once again to the Assembly of Heads of State of I thank also my fellow Ghanaians, the first President of Ghana's Fourth Republic, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, the second President of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor, former First Lady, Her Excellency Nana Konadu Agyeman Rawlings, the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Kyerematen, who brilliantly led Ghana's efforts, and other officials of government for the diverse roles they played in helping to promote Ghana's successful bid. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in Niamey, I assure that Ghana, as caretaker of run as a world-class organization, Indeed, as part of the hosting agreement, Ghana was requested of establishing a permanent secretariat for the AFCFTA in Accra. Ghana has fully discharged all her obligations and commitments agreed with the AU Commission. And we are today handing over a fully furnished and befitting office space in a secured and easily accessible location within the business center of Accra as the permanent secretariat of the AFCFTA. We have provided also an appropriate furnished residential accommodation as the official residence of the Secretary General of the AFCFTA. I have no doubt that the coming into being of the African Continental Free Trade Area is one of the most important decisions taken by the AU. When you consider the fact that trade between African countries remains low, currently standing at some 16% of our combined GDP, compared to other parts of the world, like the European Union's 75%, it is obvious that these very low levels of intra-regional trade constitute one of the defining characteristics of our continuing poverty. They hinder our prospects of bringing prosperity to our peoples. A large part of the growth and prosperity that we seek on the continent will come from us trading more amongst ourselves. We in Ghana believe that an increase in trade is the surest way to deepen regional integration in Africa. It will mean a rapid increase in the exchange of agricultural, industrial, financial, scientific, and technological products, which would significantly enhance our economic fortunes as a continent, create prosperity, and provide opportunities for employment for the broad masses of Africans, particularly the youth. The economic integration of Africa will lay a strong foundation for an Africa beyond aid. It is for this reason that I have continued in the footsteps of my predecessors in fighting for the cause of African unity. An effective implementation of the AFCFTA will dispel the notion that the AU is not capable of executing its own decisions. Africa's new sense of urgency and aspiration of true self-reliance will be amply demonstrated by today's ceremony. In this regard, I appeal to all member states who are yet to ratify the AFCFTA agreement to take advantage of the postponement of the date for start of trading and to do so by December 2020, to enable us trade fully amongst ourselves so we can harness the benefits of the AFCFTA together. The pandemic has heightened the importance of the success of the AFCFTA. The disruption of global supply chains has reinforced the necessity for closer integration amongst us so that we can boost our mutual self-sufficiency, strengthen our economies, and reduce our dependence on external sources. We are now the world's largest free trade area since the formation of the World Trade Organization, and we must make it count. Covering a market of 1.2 billion people with a combined GDP of some 3 trillion United States dollars across the 54 member states of the AU that have signed up to the agreement, it will provide the vehicle for us to trade among ourselves in a more modern and sophisticated manner. It will offer a huge opportunity to exploit the abundant wealth and resources of our great continent for the benefit of all our people, and it will give us protection in how to deal with other trading blocs. So I urge member states to put in an extra effort to conclude all outstanding implementation issues for their adoption by the AU Assembly in the next extraordinary summit scheduled for December 2020 to pave way for the smooth commencement of trading from 1st January 2021. As we welcome the newly elected first Secretary General of the Secretariat, Mr. Wankele Kebetwe Meni, and his family to Ghana. I know that he's fully aware of the enormous task ahead of him and his colleagues who will be managing the Secretariat. Secretary General, a heartfelt akwaba to you and your family. Ghanaians have always had a sense of special solidarity with South Africans, so I know you will be at home here. The AFCFTA Framework Agreement provides for a functionally autonomous, independent institution within the AU system. In upholding this and other provisions of the agreement, the Secretary General must work towards building a strong, efficient, and effective Secretariat with the capacity to implement the various trade rules in line with the text of the agreement to help build credibility and reduce trade policy uncertainty in the continent. The world is watching to see whether the Secretariat will indeed provide the springboard for Africa's economic integration and rapid growth. And I'm confident that under your tenure, it will. Mr. Secretary General, be rest assured of the firm support of the government of Ghana for your work and activities. Before I conclude, let me commend highly the President of the Republic of Niger, His Excellency Mahamadou Issoufou, current chair of ECOWAS, for the stellar work he has done in championing the African Continental Free Trade Initiative. No one has done more to ensure the coming into force of the AFCFTA than President Issoufou, and our posterity will reward his name accordingly. To His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, Chairperson of the AU Commission, Deputy Chairperson, Ambassador Kwesi Kworte, the Commissioners, and the entire staff of the AU Commission, I say well done for your hard work in supporting the processes leading to this historic day. I end by congratulating and saluting my good friend, His Excellency Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa and current chair of the Authority of the Assembly of the AU, for the benign, progressive guidance and supervision he has offered to make today possible. Accordingly, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, I have the greatest pleasure formally to commission and hand over the office of the AfCFTA Secretariat to the African Union Commission. May God... May God bless Mother Africa and us all and make her great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And now may I kindly request that you remain on stage, Mr. President, and may I ask that you be joined by the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, His Excellency Musa Faki, for the official commissioning and handing over of the AfCFTA Secretariat. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President will hand over, first of all, a scroll to His Excellency Musa Faki. A round of applause for the first handing over. And now, ladies and gentlemen, and now in the possession of His Excellency Musa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, is the key to the AFCFTA Secretariat, the symbolic key, if I may put it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, may I now allow His Excellency Musa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, to share a few words.
His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Issoufou Mamadou, President of the Republic of Niger, His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa and Chairperson of the African Union, His Excellency Jerry Rawlings, former President of Ghana, Excellencies, Member of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Wamekele Mene, AfCFTA Secretary General, Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be here to witness the handover of the headquarters of the AfCFTA Secretariat by the Republic of Ghana to the African Union. I wish to thank President Nana Akufo-Addo for the warm welcome and gracious hospitality accorded to me during my visit. In the same token, I wish to salute his steadfast leadership in making the strong and legitimate case for the Secretariat to be hosted here in Ghana. This included contributing financial resources to ensure this important symbol of our union is ready today. Thank you, Your Excellency. I also wish to pay special tribute to President Issoufou Mahamadou of Niger and champion of the flagship AFCFTA project. His strong and sustained advocacy oversaw the fastest ratification and entry in force of an AU instrument, second only to that of the AU Constitutive Act. Merci, Monsieur le Président. We are also here today thanks to the unfailing support and leadership of President Cyril Ramaphosa, our chair, who has made the operationalization of AFCFTA a priority during his tenure. Indeed, today marks a historic milestone in the road to fulfill the vision of our founding father for continental integration that dates back to the inaugural session of the OAU in 1963, articulated more strongly by then President Kwame Nkrumah in his landmark speech. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we stand here today despite a global COVID-19 pandemic that has caused major disruptions to global trade and the movement of goods and people. It is fitting that the Secretariat will have its home here in Accra. Ghana is a historical trading center for gold, cocoa and timbers and other valuable goods, and remains an important center of commerce on the continent and beyond. Accra is also and has always been a guardian of our collective Pan-African memory, not only as a home of thought, but also as a port of safety and freedom for fellow Africans fleeing persecution and for people of African descent seeking refuge or simply coming back home. Madame Mene, you're coming from the United States, you're an African American, welcome back home. While the operationalization of the Secretariat was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the same pandemic has also magnified the urgent need for speed to accelerate economic integration on the continent. This crisis, with its negative impact on trade and the multilateral system, is also an opportunity to rethink our value chains and reduce our reliance on traditional supply routes. To ensure we can absorb the negative impacts of future pandemics, we must integrate our markets, accelerate industrial development, enhance competitiveness to ensure a prosperous, peaceful, and integrated future for our people. When COVID-19 hit, Africa took strong and early action to the surprise of many. We opened essential corridors to facilitate the transport and delivery of urgently needed equipment and first responders to member states. We also set up a pooled procurement platform of medical supplies for member states. And Africa CDC, the AU Agency for Public Health Emergencies, is ably coordinating the continental response. Africa demonstrated her resilience and also a sense of cooperation and solidarity in the face of this common threat. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is this same spirit of unity that has brought us here today to this physical manifestation of a key economic Pan-African agenda that will be led by Honorable Wamkele Mwene, whose vast experience, vision, and competence belies his relative youth. Congratulations, my brother. I am sure you will take care of this beautiful headquarters. I cannot finish without applauding the African trade ministers, including Minister Alan Kerematen here today, whose strong contribution, I remember, together with Foreign Minister Shirley Boshwe, was critical not only to Ghana's victory to host the AfCFTA Secretariat, but also for the success of the entire process. I can also not forget the AU Commissioner of Trade, Albert Muchanga, who together with his team and their hard work brought us to this historic milestone. Let me now conclude with the words of Kwame Nkrumah, and I quote, "The task ahead is great indeed. Heavy is the responsibility, and yet it is a noble and glorious challenge. A challenge which calls for the courage to believe, the courage to dare, the courage to do, the courage to fight, the courage to achieve." I thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker could easily be described as the strongest man in Africa, on whose shoulders this huge responsibility has just been placed. Please allow me, and with a very welcoming and encouraging round of applause, allow me to bring to the podium His Excellency, the first Secretary General of the AFCFTA, His Excellency Wamkele Mwene.
Thank you very much, Program Director. His Excellency President Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency former President Jerry Rawlings, His Excellency Mr. Musa Faki Mohammed, the Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Honorable Professor Okwe, Speaker of the Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, Your Lordship Justice Anin Yebwa, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Otwa Serubwe, Chairman of the 7th Council of State, Honorable Minister Bochri, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Honorable Minister Alan Cherry-Martin, Minister for Trade and Industry, honorable members of parliament, excellencies, ambassadors, high commissioners, traditional leaders, religious leaders, ladies and gentlemen, comrades and friends. On this occasion of the formal commissioning and handing over of the AfCFTA Secretariat, let me express my deep humility for having been elected by the 33rd Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the African Union to the position of the first Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat. A mission to be at the service of Africa, a mission which I will undertake with resolute determination. Since the end of colonialism, the Republic of Ghana has been at the forefront of advancing efforts for the integration of Africa. Ghana's contribution to Pan-Africanism ensured that Pan-Africanism has a sound intellectual and philosophical basis. It is therefore natural that as we take this significant step towards the integration of the market in Africa, that the AFCFTA Secretariat is in Accra, Ghana, and that Ghana continues to be at the vanguard of integration in Africa. On behalf of all Africans, Your Excellency, Mr. President, I thank the people of Ghana, I thank the government of Ghana for providing world-class facilities that will enable Africa to progress towards the historic mission of achieving an integrated Africa. The Republic of Ghana and the people of Ghana, at great sacrifice, made an unprecedented contribution to the fight to end colonialism in Africa and the defeat of apartheid in South Africa. I was born and raised under apartheid during a period when the depraved apartheid regime was at its brutality. Through the Organization of African Unity, which was inspired by the leadership of Ghana, the continent declared that Africa shall not be free until the people of South Africa are themselves free of the shackles and bondage of apartheid. The fact that a South African who was born and raised under apartheid is able to stand before you today, mandated by the Assembly of Heads of States, to advance the imperatives of Pan-Africanism, truly is a remarkable testament to Ghana's long-held principle that Africa shall not be free until the people of South Africa are free from the shackles and bondage of apartheid. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since the negotiations were launched in Johannesburg in 2015, remarkable progress has been achieved, largely because of the political will and commitment of the Assembly of Heads of States and Government of the African Union to ensure that Africa takes concrete steps towards the creation of an integrated market. In this regard, I wish to join His Excellency the President of the Republic and His Excellency the Chairperson of the Commission to pay tribute to the President of the Republic of Niger, His Excellency President Mamadou Issoufou, the champion and leader of the AFCFTA, for his unwavering and dedicated leadership of the AFCFTA negotiations. Under his leadership and guidance as the champion of the AFCFTA, Africa confounded critics. 54 countries have signed the agreement. 28 countries have ratified it, making it one of the fastest ratifications in the history of the African Union. Since my election in February 2020, His Excellency Musa Faki Mohammed and his team provided me with the resources and the support that I needed during the period that I was in Addis Ababa, waiting to transition to Accra. I thank him for his leadership and political support during this difficult time when it appeared that COVID-19 would obstruct our efforts. Merci beaucoup, mon grand frère. Through the leadership of the chairperson of the Assembly, His Excellency President Ramaphosa of South Africa, Africa was able to coordinate an effective public health, trade, and debt relief response to the COVID-19 crisis, thereby enabling the mitigation of the impact of the crisis. I thank the President for his leadership. I was here in Accra in 2012 as a senior trade official when we adopted the Boosting Intra-Africa Trade Action Plan and the Action Plan for the AFCFTA negotiations, which were later adopted by the Assembly of Heads of States. In various capacities, Honorable Minister Thierry Martin has been an integral part of our efforts to make the AFCFTA a reality. From when we commenced negotiations of the Boosting Intra-Africa Trade Action Plan to the time the AFCFTA entered into force, Honorable Minister Thierry Martin has been a tireless contributor to regional integration and trade multilateralism in Africa. We should all appreciate his efforts. We should all appreciate his efforts that he made on behalf of Ghana for the whole of Africa. The AFCFTA offers an opportunity to confront the significant trade and economic development challenges of our time: market fragmentation, smallness of national economies, over-reliance on the export of primary commodities, a narrow export base, lack of export specialization, underdeveloped regional value chains, and of course, high regulatory and tariff barriers to intra-Africa trade, amongst other challenges. The result of all of this is a very low percentage of intra-Africa trade to traditional markets of the North. In other words, Africa continues to be trapped in one of the tools for effecting a fundamental structural transformation of Africa's economy. We have to take action now. We have to take action to dismantle the colonial economic model that we inherited. The AFCFTA is therefore a critical response to Africa's economic development challenges. It has the potential to enable Africa to significantly boost intra-Africa trade, to improve economies of scale through an integrated market. It has the potential to be a catalyst for industrial development, placing Africa on a path to exporting value-added products and improving Africa's competitiveness both in its own markets and globally. It also sends a very strong signal to international investors that Africa is open for business based on a single rule book for trade and investment. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the AfCFTA signals that Africa is open for business and for mutually beneficial investment, thereby creating jobs and improving livelihoods. We have a market of 1.2 billion people. We have a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion US dollars. We boast over 400 companies that earn annual revenues of $1 billion or more. And according to Professor Landry Signé and Acha Leke, writing in 2019 in the publication Foresight Africa, a Brookings Institute publication, African industries have the opportunity to double production to nearly $1 trillion within a decade, with 3/4 of that growth coming from the manufacturing sector to substitute third country imports and meet increasing local demand in Africa. And of course, through the last half of the decade, 7 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies in the world were in Africa, according to the IMF's World Economic Outlook database of October 2019. Indeed, Your Excellencies, this indicates that Africa is open for business. This is a period of unprecedented challenges to the global economy and the multilateral trading system on which the global economy is anchored. The multilateral trading system is under severe strain, largely due to what appears to be an abandonment of the rules that underpin it. This strain on the multilateral trading system has the risk of reversing the modest gains that we made in placing development at the center of the multilateral trading system since we launched the Doha Development Round in Qatar in 2001. Africa's response against this strain on the multilateral trading system must be to consolidate and advance our continental market integration objectives through the AFCFTA. And under the leadership of President Issoufou, as the champion of the African Continental Free Trade Area, our collective priority should be to rapidly conclude Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the negotiations of the AFCFTA in order to unlock Africa's full productive capacity. The ongoing COVID-19 crisis has ravaged global economic activity. It has severely disrupted trade and global supply chains, and of course, it has had a negative effect on public health. Africa should not despair and fall into despondency. From a trade perspective, we should see this as an opportunity. Through the AFCFTA, we have an opportunity to reconfigure our supply chains, to reduce reliance on others, and to expedite the establishment of regional value chains that will boost intra-Africa trade and secure Africa's productive capacity for generations to come. In this connection, in the last 4 months since I have been elected, I have already initiated and had very promising engagements with 3 of the world's largest automobile manufacturers with the view to establishment of automobile value chains across the African continent. I intend to extend this type of an engagement to include other labor-intensive sectors such as agro-processing. In this endeavor, the AfCFTA Secretariat shall work with our sister Department of Trade and Industry at the African Union Commission, as well as with our partners such as UNECA and Afreximbank, to advance Africa's industrial development objectives. We should be in no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, as much progress as we have made, there will be implementation-related challenges ahead. Substantial domestic policy reforms and alignment of national legislation, transshipment. The AfCFTA Secretariat will work closely with customs authorities across Africa to ensure that through robust implementation of the AfCFTA rules of origin, the prevention of transshipment is an absolute priority. The AfCFTA must create jobs. It must not create job losses through transshipment of third country goods into the AfCFTA market. As the Secretary General, I am committed to ensuring that the AfCFTA is effectively implemented such that there is shared and inclusive economic growth across the African continent. The backlash against trade, free trade, and trade liberalization that we witnessed in recent years is not because trade liberalization is intrinsically beneficial exclusively to a certain elite or to certain countries. Rather, the backlash is in part attributable to the unequal distribution of the benefits of international trade and a lack of shared and inclusive growth. The lesson, therefore, for the AfCFTA from this backlash against trade liberalization and the pursuit of free trade is that beyond boosting trade flows, the question of equitable distribution of the gains of the AfCFTA must be at the center of its implementation. If the AFCFTA is perceived to benefit only a handful of relatively industrialized countries in Africa and a handful of African multinational corporations, it shall be rejected by Africans, and deservedly so. In this regard, we should recall that the empowerment of women, young Africans, and other disadvantaged segments of our society is a central objective of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. Small medium enterprises confront significant challenges when attempting to benefit from trade agreements. I therefore intend to take concrete steps to ensure that women and young Africans are at the center and at the heart of implementation and of the benefits of the AFCFTA. The AFCFTA must create opportunities for women in trade, amongst others, by lowering the gender wage gap. Young Africans who are at the cutting edge of technological innovation for digital trade and e-commerce must also be at the heart of implementation of the AFCFTA. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, as I conclude, let me observe that 2020 is the year of silencing the guns, providing an opportunity to focus on fast-tracking Africa's economic development objectives. Successful implementation of the AFCFTA shall consolidate the gains that are foreseen in Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, and indeed take us a step closer to the Africa we want. During this time of COVID-19, whilst many countries are able to provide billions of dollars worth of stimulus packages to re-inject growth and economic activity, very few African countries have the fiscal, policy, and monetary policy space to provide similar stimulus packages. Therefore, aggressively implementing the AFCFTA has the potential to be Africa's economic recovery tool. Boosting intra-Africa trade has the potential to contribute to Africa's recovery year on year from 2021 onwards. Africa has confounded critics. Many doubted that we would be able to achieve the progress that we recorded. Standing on the shoulders of the great liberation struggle heroes of our time, we dare not fail in this historic mission to integrate Africa. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I ask for another round of applause for our first Secretary General of the AfCFTA Secretariat here in Accra. Please take a look.
Excellences, Monsieur Nana Akufo-Addo, Président de la République du Ghana, Monsieur Moussa Faki Mahamat, Président de la Commission de l'Union africaine, Monsieur le Secrétaire exécutif de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, Mesdames et Messieurs, le processus de mise en œuvre de l'accord instituant la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine va franchir aujourd'hui une nouvelle étape, celle de l'installation définitive du secrétariat exécutif de cette institution dans ses propres locaux. En ma qualité de champion de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, permettez-moi de me réjouir de cet important événement qui constitue un signe de plus que ce projet emblématique de l'Union africaine avance et poursuit inexorablement son chemin malgré les vicissitudes liées notamment à la pandémie Covid-19 qui affecte l'ensemble de la planète. Le 12e sommet extraordinaire de l'Union africaine, tenu à Niamey le 7 juillet 2019, a procédé au lancement officiel de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine et a pris la décision qu'Accra, capitale du Ghana, patrie du docteur Kwame Nkrumah, l'un des pères fondateurs de l'Union africaine, accueillera le siège du secrétariat de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine. L'Afrique doit s'unir ou périr, avait dit cet éminent panafricaniste. En créant la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, nous avons fait le choix de nous unir. En acceptant d'accueillir le siège de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, le Ghana reste fidèle aux convictions de ce digne fils de l'Afrique. En plus des fonds nécessaires au démarrage de l'institution, le président Nana Akufo-Addo, en mettant gracieusement à la disposition de notre organisation continentale, l'Union africaine, un immeuble de grand standing pour abriter le secrétariat de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, traduit en actes la volonté du peuple ghanéen à rester un des porte-flambeaux de l'intégration africaine. En ma qualité de champion de la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine, je tiens à l'en remercier et à remercier le gouvernement et le peuple ghanéen pour ce geste généreux, témoignant de l'engagement du Ghana en faveur d'une intégration véritable du continent. Mesdames et messieurs, notre continent dispose d'un actif démographique croissant. Pour transformer cet actif démographique en dividende économique, il faut non seulement soigner, éduquer, former sa jeunesse, mais aussi fournir des emplois aux 10 à 12 millions de jeunes Africains qui arrivent chaque année sur le marché du travail aujourd'hui. Seule la mise en œuvre de l'agenda 2063 et de ses plans et programmes peut nous permettre d'y parvenir. La zone de libre-échange continentale africaine est un outil formidable à cette fin. Elle n'est pas un programme isolé. Elle forme, avec les autres plans et programmes de l'Union africaine, un tout cohérent dans la perspective de renforcer l'intégration régionale et atteindre les objectifs de l'agenda 2063. Sans infrastructures routières, ferroviaires, aéroportuaires, portuaires et de télécommunications, objet du plan de développement des infrastructures de l'Union africaine, la zone de libre-échange continentale africaine sera une coquille vide. Il en sera de même.
And it will be the same without the implementation of other plans, agriculture and mining and so on, especially the industrialization of our continent will enable us to put an end to the status of simple reservoirs of raw materials which belong to the colonial past. Our people want a dynamic and integrated area where their products and services would move freely. We made this promise and we gave this hope by signing the agreement establishing the CFTA 23rd March 2019 in Kigali and got it ratified by the minimum of 22 states in 30th May 2019. That is within 1 year, which is unprecedented in the history of our continental organization. We made this promise and we gave this hope by launching the process of operationalization of the CFTA the 7th of July 2019 in Niamey, and today for the takeoff of the actions. Unfortunately, COVID-19 has disturbed our plans. However, we need to adapt and speed up, fast-track the efforts in order to meet the promises we made to our people. And I would like to seize the opportunity to ask all stakeholders of the CFTA to pool their efforts and resources and energies so that the objectives that we have set ourselves will be achieved, particularly the finalization of the issues of the removal of tariffs and as well as issues pertaining to the rules of origin. To this end, I am pleased that the Afro champions made the proposals to provide logistic and technological support to ensure that the activities and negotiators and especially to seize the opportunity for this offer by Afro champions to organize virtual meetings and take the necessary measures so that the relevant activities could be carried out and so that the transactions of the CFTA could effectively take place. The Secretariat of the CFTA should be assigned the necessary budget and recruit the necessary personnel so that the work can go on. I know that the president of the ladies and gentlemen, I would like to exhort all of us to maintain a sense of unity and solidarity and dignity as cardinal African values which we have inherited from the founding fathers of our organization. Let us remain of the CFTA and other programs and plans of Agenda 2063. Thank you for your kind attention.
And now a goodwill message from His Excellency Cyril Ramaphosa, President of the Republic of South Africa, which will be delivered by Her Excellency.
Thank you, Madam Program Director. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Mr. Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, former President of Ghana, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, Excellencies Mr. Mahamadou Issoufou, President of Niger, and AU champion of the AFCFTA, Mr. Moussa Faki, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mr. Wamkele Mene, Secretary General of the AFCFTA, Honorable Ministers, Members of Parliament, Ambassadors, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, led by our Dean here, Nanu Name, distinguished guests, Mr. President, I respectfully stand to deliver a statement on behalf of the African Union Chair, His Excellency, Mr. Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, the President of South Africa. And the statement reads as follows. Excellencies, allow me first of all to congratulate the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo, for hosting the AFCFTA headquarters, as well as the Secretary General, Mr. Wamkele Nene. His other name is Kiabetswi, Mr. President, which means I have been given. When you have a son, you give him a piece of land to work there, and it is Sutu, Kiabetswi. Then he says, I've been given Kiabetswi. And then his second name is Xhosa. It means Wamkele. He has accepted. We also welcome our Makoti, which means bride in my language. Mr. President, on behalf of the African Union and the entire continent, I express our profound gratitude to the government and people of Ghana for generously offering the building and residence which house the AFCFTA and the Secretary General. This day indeed is historic and a strong affirmation of the vision of an integrated Africa, which was envisioned by the founding fathers of the OAU, led by, of course, among others, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, 57 years ago. It is a fitting tribute that the AFCFTA headquarters are housed here in Ghana, the capital of Pan-Africanism, in fact, where the first country to be liberated was in Africa, was Ghana. Therefore, it is fitting that the headquarters of the AFCFTA are being housed here in Accra. I want to reassure you, Mr. Mene, of the Chair's unwavering support as you execute your responsibilities of promoting the successful implementation of the AFCFTA as entrusted to you by the continent. Mr. Mene, you are facing enormous challenges ahead, but they are not insurmountable. When successfully implemented, the AFCFTA will be a huge milestone towards the realization of Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. As AU Chair, I also wish to assure you of the AU's commitment to the successful implementation of the AFCFTA as a practical contribution to the economic development of Africa. We welcome the progress achieved thus far in the implementation of the Niamey decision of July 2019, but we also acknowledge the challenges that still exist in the negotiations at the moment, in particular around the issue of rules of origin and trade offers, as well as trade-in services. We are confident that through your leadership, the determination of the AU member states, all bracketed issues should be resolved soon. We remain concerned